Hi everyone, Sabrina here with a book review today. I finished this beast, The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. I actually did a buddy read with Anna from the Book Dreamers Alley, link to her channel down below. Yeah, I started it last year and got to like a page 136 and stopped, and she said, well, let's buddy read it over the course of a week. That's kind of what we did. I think I got a little bit behind. I'm not sure. I'm sure we were planning to do it in like a week, and it took me a little bit longer than that. And I finished it. Yeah. If you like this book, if you worship this book, please stop watching this video right now. Thank you. Those of you that didn't like this book or haven't read this book, I have many thoughts and feelings about Priory. The first up being, my god, it's a damn big book. I don't have a problem with damn big books. I really don't. Some of my favourite books are big books. But when it takes 500 pages for things to actually start happening, yeah. Priory of the Orange Tree, as far as I can work it out, because it's not exceptionally clear, is a multi-person point of view story about the rise of the Nameless One, which is this big, bad, evil dragon. You know, think the devil, dragon form. And the attempt to stop him from destroying the world, I think, with a whole pile of religion and ceremony thrown in for bonus. I get what the author's trying to do with this, and when I hadn't finished this book, I heard people say that they thought it would be better as two books, and I get what they're saying, because as one book, it's a bit of a mess. I'm sorry. It's trying to do the Lord of the Rings multi-point of view and completely failing in making those extra characters relevant until way too late. I only really liked two of the characters to start off with, and one I hardly saw, and one was tied up with the politics of the court that she was hiding in. So there's that. There's characters that seem to be introduced for the sake of background, but they don't really have any purpose otherwise. You know, we're introduced to a character and then a few pages later we find out they're dead. I mean, some literally die off screen, as it were, and it's like, hold on, they were built up to be this big, important character. No, just literally, they're dead. Oh, brilliant, wonderful. It was frustrating. Frustrating as hell, this. It really was. So the Nameless One, and I figured this out quite late on, actually, why I've got such a problem with this book. The Nameless One is set up to be like Sauron. Yeah, let's face it, this book is being compared to Lord of the Rings in like epicness. So the Nameless One is Sauron. Now, Sauron in Lord of the Rings influences lots of different evil points of view. So Saruman, Shelob, obviously the influence of the ring through Anon Gollum. And we've got the orcs coming in. We've got the Nine Riders. You know, there's a lot of influence that Sauron's have. Even though we barely see him on the page, he has influence. The Nameless One, yeah, apart from sending out his right-winged dragon, whose name I can't pronounce at all. I'm sorry, I can't get it right once. And they're puppet controlling one of the kingdoms within the Western Isle. The Nameless One doesn't seem to have done anything. He doesn't seem to have influenced anything at all across the Western Eastern Isles. Literally, it's this one kingdom that's been controlled. And it's like, I don't even think it's the Nameless One that's controlling it. I'm sure it's this right-hand dragon. But it's like, well, okay, well, why is the Nameless One so bad? You know, what's he doing? What's he influencing? As far as I can work out, very, very little. I think that was my biggest problem. And so actually, if this had been two books and probably a slight restructuring of the story, it might have had more that what the Nameless One was actually doing, what the influence over the people were, why people feared him rising quite so much. Because he didn't seem to do much. Whereas his right-hand dragon did a lot, but wasn't the big Nameless One. And then you've got this Witch of the Woods, Kayla, who can shapeshift. So she pretends to be a worm, or dragon, who destroys a scullion, which is in this like this tiny little island separate to everybody else, and has their own like belief system. And that's like blamed on the Nameless One, but it's got nothing to do with the Nameless One. It's the Witch in the Woods doing it. I was like, really, you know, there's all this fear about the Nameless One, and there's nothing to actually show me why we've got this fear over him. And then it did get to a point, where were we? Like I said, about 400 pages. And Ede, who is one of our main characters, she goes to do something and is stopped. And she goes to do something and she's stopped. and she goes to do something and she's stopped, and it's just like, oh, for crying out loud. I mean, at least Frodo going to do the ring got on with it. But I do think if this had been 2 books and with a bit of restructuring and a little bit more substance in this story, possibly. I mean, I say substance, but I mean, yeah, look at the size of this. I think it might have worked better. But because it's 1 book, I feel like we're missing part of the story here, because it's just so bloody annoying and frustrating. And I have to admit, it did get to the point where I was throwing this book quite happily onto the table. I mean, obviously I couldn't throw it across the room because it's far too bloody big for that. But it's just like, oh, I've waited so long. Oh, great, that's it. That's what we're doing. And then the ending, the final battle. I've got 10, I'm not kidding, 10 pages left and the Nameless One is still not dead. And it's like, you're telling me you're going to wrap this massive story up in 10 pages and you haven't even killed the great evil. It just like... And then the ending, I mean, I did say to Malcolm that it's like, oh, this is the end of Return of the King, where we've got 20 minutes of goodbyes, you know, which is what Peter Jackson does in his film. But literally it was like a few chapters and it didn't really end. I'm not quite sure what it did. But it was just like, well, this is what this started doing, this is what this started doing, and this is what this started doing. And it's like, but that's not really an ending. And it's like, well, are we going to get another one in this? Is this going to be, because, you know, you killed the Nameless One, but spoiler, sorry, spoiler. But, you know, things haven't been all tied up. There's obviously going to be political and religious upheaval due to all these events. Some of these characters are not where they want to be, and they haven't got their happily ever after, which after everything we've gone through, I wanted a happy ever after. It just annoyed me and frustrated me. And I'm sorry, I didn't think it was worth 800 pages. I really didn't. And every character has got like half a dozen names. And it's like, fine, give your characters long names, but don't give me 3 different versions of that name. Just tell me the character. It's hard enough as it is. And there's all this history that's gone on, but it's all told, because obviously people don't know the history. And it's, how can you not know the history of the land you're in? You know, you do your research if you're a visitor, or you live there, so you know the history. But, oh, we're going to tell you this and we're going to tell you that. Really? I wanted to like it. I know so many people have liked it, but it just made me so damn cross. This was full of missed opportunities. The world building is pretty cool and awesome, and I love the concepts of dragons and the idea of balance, and, you know, even the religion was held really well. How one story can be completely twisted to tell completely different versions that become a basis for a religion, and how that can cause tension between groups of people. You know, some of the characters were okay. Eve was alright. Tane I really liked. Kit I liked, but he didn't get to do anything. Dr. Roose, you know, Nicholas, yeah. He was horrible. I didn't like him at all. But he was like a third of this book. Who else was there? There was the Queen, Sabin. So yeah, I have no idea how to pronounce any of these names, which was really bad. But, you know, she was horrible. And it's like, I'm supposed to like this person and feel sorry for her. And yeah, she did mellow a bit, but not enough in the way she was made out to be so horrible at the start. And it's like, you know, I needed more to actually appreciate that she'd put on this mask for court, and actually she was quite a nice person underneath. But none of that came across until far too late. And it's like, by this point, I'd had enough. Had I not been buddy reading this, I'd have never picked it up again. I'd have just not bothered. I don't have a problem with multiple characters. What I have a problem with is characters not being utilised, or just, we're going to have a couple of pages with this character and then go on, because they're not part of the plot yet. They're not important enough. And it's like, you need to make me care about these characters. And I'm sorry, you know, you've done all this setup and I don't care about this character. I mean, I want to say something nice about it. Like I said, I did like the world building. I did like the use of dragons. I liked the concept of a story being twisted to how people wanted it to be portrayed. There was a lot I liked, and this should have been a really good duology, and it's a bit of a truncated mess, I think. It sounds really harsh, it really does, but it pissed me off. I'm sorry, it pissed me off so much that actually I'm not keeping it. I'm not going to reread it. I didn't read it when everybody was hyping about it either. I left it because I try not to read hyped books at the time, because everybody goes on about them and it's like when you get to them and it's like, oh, they don't live up to the hype. So I leave it until the hype has calmed down. Didn't like it. Well, yeah, I liked bits of it, but I didn't like it enough. I just made me cross. I haven't been this cross about a book for quite some time, and this one was just really, really frustrating. I think I've said that a few times, but it was. This annoyed me a lot. It's also the second book by Samantha Shannon I have read. Okay, I did try the Bone Season. I didn't get very far into it and I stopped. So I think Samantha Shannon is another one of those authors that I probably am not going to bother reading again, because there are so many books out there that I do get on with, and to keep struggling with an author that I do not get on with for whatever reason, I don't have the time, I'm sorry. But if you like Samantha Shannon's books, she's very, very popular. Apparently she's very good. Her story's really good and all that. People do like her characters, but there you go. Well, thank you for persevering through that rant. It was a bit of a mess, and I might have to do a blog on it just so I can get my thoughts in some semblance of order. Or maybe I might just leave it and go, this is it. I'm not going to bother with this ever again, because it's just annoying. You want to like a book and it just does that to you, and you just think, why have I read this? Why have I wasted a week reading this book when I could have read another one? It's just so frustrating. It's a book that I've heard so much positivity about. I've heard some people go, yeah, this wasn't worth it. It's my reading time. I could have read something I liked. I could have read something fun. So I read something that made me cross. I didn't even like the romance in it. I'm sorry. I just didn't like it because I didn't care. I didn't care about the characters. I really didn't care. And the ones I did care about, I didn't get enough of. Or they didn't get to do anything. Anyway, that was my very messy feelings about Priory the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. If you like it, you're allowed to like it. I'm not telling you you can't like this book, but for me personally, no, it's not my cup of tea, because I like my books to actually not make me cross. I don't want to be cross about books. I'm supposed to read books to enjoy. I don't want to be cross about a book. If you have any thoughts about Priory, leave them down below in the comments. You know, if you want to try and... Well, you're not going to change my mind, because unfortunately it's made me so angry. It really has. So you're not going to change my mind, because my emotions have spoken. But like I say, you are allowed to love this book and worship this book. You know, you're more than welcome to put your thoughts down below, but why you worship this book and love this book, but I will not be. Usual MacGuffins in the description box down below. Social media links, book blog link, and links to other booktubers that I think you should go and check out. Please go and do that. Like I said, Anna's channel I'll leave down below as well, so you can go say hi to her. As always, thank you very much for watching, and happy reading. Be well.